everyone! In this video today I'm going to be giving some tips on managing hyperactivity. Now I want to say first of all that hopefully this video is a lot clearer quality because I have noticed that a lot of my videos can be very grainy, and I think that's either my phone camera not really working because it may have a scratch on it as my phone screen is smashed, or it could be that my video editor may not be exporting the video in the way it says it is. So I am now using my dad's phone. I can see now filming this, it looks very clear, I can see myself, so that's good. So hopefully it's a lot easier to watch. But the reason I'm making a video on managing hyperactivity is because a lot of people in the Tourette's community have co-occurring ADHD and it could help people with that. But my hyperactivity personally is caused by PANDAS. I'm not diagnosed with ADHD. However, since my most recent flare, I have developed a lot of hyperactivity and ADHD-like traits. So I found, some ways of managing it and dealing with it, and of course this isn't a complete list because I still experience hyperactivity and it does still cause issues. I would say in some cases my hyperactivity can cause some more issues in the tics, but I think that maybe these tips might help some people and, hopefully it will. So I would say the first thing is to understand yourself, and this is important because when you understand yourself you can be your own advocate. And this is vital because, some people might not understand hyperactivity. I think it is very difficult for people to understand it because I know for me, my attention span was literally a few seconds. I would put a song on and it would be about 1 or 2 seconds in and I would already get bored of it and change it. And I just needed stimulation. I needed to do something. And I was rushing around doing lots of things. I literally couldn't slow down. And that's difficult for people, who don't experience hyperactivity to understand, because a lot of people are like, well, why can't you just slow down? But for someone with hyperactivity, our mind's racing, we can't stay still, we're very restless, so it can be very difficult. So I think it's important to advocate for yourself so that others can understand and be a little bit more compassionate, because when others are compassionate, you can be more compassionate to yourself. But as well as this, I think that it's important to understand yourself because otherwise you might judge yourself. I know for me, in the beginning, when I developed hyperactivity to quite an extent where it really affected me, it was difficult because I was judging myself for it and I was thinking that I need to slow down, calm down, I need to have some self-discipline or some willpower, I need to learn to behave, and I was actually judging myself like that all the time and I was so ashamed of being so hyper. But now I realise that it isn't necessarily a bad thing. Yes, it does make things difficult and it is the result of brain inflammation, but I mean that for now, just accepting it, letting it happen, because I found that if I try not to be hyper, if I try and be still and focus, it ends up kind of like a rebound. If I try and focus for long periods of time, my mind starts racing even more, and then I kind of zone out in my own thoughts. And if I try and sit still, then I end up being really restless and literally just moving around all the time. So I think that accepting it is helpful, and just letting it happen, really, in the sense that not trying to suppress it within yourself, and also not beating yourself up for it, because I found that kind of seeing the positives of it helped me a little bit as well, because knowing that my hyperactivity can give me a little bit of spontaneity, it can make me a little bit eccentric, which can sometimes be a good thing. The hyperactivity, I guess it gives me a good sense of humour because I can laugh at myself now pretty well. I also think that it gives me like drive and passion, because once I am interested in something, there's no stopping me. But again, there are some things I can't focus on. But I think that seeing the good can be beneficial because it helps you, again, with self-acceptance, which is something I talk about a lot. So I feel like that is important. The next thing is exercise. Now, exercise can sometimes help if you are feeling a little bit restless. I know that sometimes if I am so jittery and restless, I dance, or, I go for a walk outside in the park, because it can help me, take a break. Fresh air outside seems to help as well. Just getting a break, moving about, can kind of release a little bit of that restlessness. And also another thing is having a snack. I know for me, if my blood sugar is low, like if I haven't eaten for a while, my hyperactivity will get worse. Sometimes when I make sure I eat enough and that my blood sugar is stable, it gets a bit better. So I find if I haven't eaten in a while, it tends to get worse. Another thing is, sensory sensitivity. I know that for me, sensory sensitivity can make my hyperactivity a lot worse, and for me it's light sensitivity. I know that I wear sunglasses in college, right, you can see this now. when I'm in college, I wear sunglasses. I don't actually go into college much now because I do most of it online, but I wear sunglasses because when I wear sunglasses, I become a lot more calm. And it helps me read, because when I'm not wearing them, I can read, but I skim read because it's like I have to read everything really fast. I become quite impulsive, and I just can't take in what I'm reading or anything. But when I wear these, I can focus on what I'm doing. So it's light sensitivity, a big part of it. So I think it's important to, look at the sensory aspect of things. Light sensitivity can be a big thing. Some people actually have Tourette Syndrome, which is a condition where people experience a lot of light sensitivity, and in some circumstances it can present itself as hyperactivity under bright lights. So that's interesting as well. But for me, just sunglasses do really help a lot. The next thing is you're allowed to move about as you work, and I say this because I remembered like trying to do college work whilst hyper. It's very difficult. So usually I will take my laptop into the kitchen while I'm doing work and pace up and down the kitchen when I need to, go back to some work, stand up, bounce about if I need to, I have to move. So allowing yourself to move can actually help you get more done, because if you try and stay still, then your mind's just going to go instead. But yes, the next thing is look at your diet. Some people with hyperactivity experience dietary triggers. There was a 2007 study done by Southampton University where they actually researched the effect that food dyes had on 3-year-old or 8-year-old children. And they actually found that food dye did exacerbate ADHD-like symptoms, including impulsivity and lack of concentration. So at around 2008, I believe, the Food Standards Agency took out 6 food dyes from food in, I think, England or in the UK. So there were 6 specific food dyes. I can write them here because I don't want to try and pronounce them because they have very strange names. But the European Parliament also said that certain foods have to have warnings on them about how they can affect children's attention and behaviour. So food dye sensitivity is something that affects me a lot. Not with my hyperactivity, it actually triggers rage attacks for me, but for some people it can present itself as hyperactivity, so that could be something to look into. But also general food sensitivities, similar to tic triggers. Some people with hyperactivity have it triggered by dietary sensitivities and allergens and stuff like dairy, gluten, corn, chicken, egg, whatever you're sensitive to. Different people have different sensitivities. For me, a big thing that triggers the hyperactivity is actually sugar. Now, I don't eat sugar much anyway, it's only refined sugar though. I don't eat sugar much anyway, thankfully. But I remember a couple of weeks ago I ate sugar and I was so irritable, I needed some input. I get quite argumentative and impulsive when I'm really hyper because my body's craving that stimulation, and I'm not consciously doing this stuff, but it makes me kind of do things and act out, it's not behavioural, but it makes me act in certain ways because my body craves the stimulation, my brain craves the stimulation. So it made me very argumentative and kind of snappy, and I got very frustrated and everything. So I feel like I can't have sugar because it would trigger that, and I've seen that before as well. I remember I had sugar a few months ago, same thing happened. So I don't, I never ate much sugar anyway, but I'm just very mindful, don't eat the sugar anymore, because that does make me very, very hyper. So yes, definitely look into your diet, see if that could be a factor for you, because for some people it has a huge, huge impact, but also not just for hyperactivity, but for tics, tics, rage attacks, and also other issues like people with schizophrenia have been found to have food sensitivities, people with depression, people with bipolar disorder, and it can, food sensitivities can actually contribute to a variety of different neurological and psychiatric symptoms, so that could be worth looking into for other things as well. Also, supplementation. Certain people find that supplements can help with their hyperactivity symptoms. Now, of course, these supplements will be different for different people, and I can put links in the description on some interesting websites that talk about that, but it could be something worth looking into. So different people find that different supplements work for them. Now, obviously, I'm not a professional and I don't know that much about supplements for hyperactivity, but I have done a little bit of research and I found that things like zinc, magnesium and omega-3s can be beneficial for some people with ADHD and hyperactivity. For me, I found that spirulina helped a little bit with my hyperactivity. I remember having spirulina in my food, and I just felt really calm the next day, and that happens. But for me, it takes a lot of spirulina, and obviously spirulina can cause reactions in some people, like allergic reactions and stuff, so it is really important to research something before you try it. But that's just something that I personally found. For some reason, spirulina helped me a lot, but it could be because of the high vitamin and mineral content in spirulina, but that did seem to help a little bit, so that was pretty cool. And I have heard anecdotal evidence that some people with hyperactivity have also found spirulina helpful as well, which was quite interesting. But yes, definitely research things before you do them though, don't just take my word for it. I did take zinc supplements for quite a while. I've stopped now, but I did take zinc supplements for quite a while to try and manage the impulsivity, but if I'm being completely honest, I'm not sure if it worked, because I've stopped taking it and I'm still hyper, and I was hyper while I was taking it. But for some people, zinc is said to be beneficial. So again, different things work for different people. And also the importance of taking breaks and asking for help. So taking breaks, sometimes if you force yourself to sit down and focus for a long period of time, it just isn't going to work. Sometimes you need to, you know, have a little period of working and then take a break. So then if you do end up getting distracted in that time, and wasting time, then you end up not wasting as much time as you could have done because you had a break and then went back to it. The difficult thing is, are you actually going to go back to it? Because I know sometimes I don't, but for some people that can be helpful. If you need more help in terms of studying and, you know, doing academic work with a neurological condition like ADHD or having hyperactivity, I made a video called studying and doing academic work with a neuro condition, I think it was called. I can put it somewhere up here, but yes, so yeah, definitely find methods that work for you and take breaks. And in terms of asking for help, when you experience hyperactivity, it's really difficult to get things done. It's like my brain needs instant feeling of done, dopamine basically, but my brain needs the instant feeling of completion, of satisfaction, like that. So if I can literally be doing something for a few minutes, I'm like, I can't finish this because my brain's bouncing around and I need a sense of completion, but it doesn't come that fast. You know, it can be very difficult to actually get things done, and if your mind's racing, you literally can't process what you're doing anyway. So I think it's important to, if you're in school or college or university, ask for help, accommodations. Some people have like extra time on exams, some people have extra time for assignments, some people have help with organisation. All those things can be really, really helpful. Another thing that can help with managing hyperactivity is doing calming activities, and this can really be anything. I know that for me, if I've had a long day of being really hyper, I need something to sort of get me in a more calm state. So usually for me, that involves looking at Pinterest, listening to frequency music, which is like meditation music. Some people would meditate, but for me, I find that very difficult, because if I'm trying to meditate while my thoughts are racing and I need to move, it ends up causing rebound, which makes it kind of worse afterwards. And if I meditate, I usually dissociate and lose sensation around my eyes, which is very strange, but it makes it a little bit more difficult. So I usually just do something else, and then I kind of be calm enough and zone out anyway that I'm sort of not really focusing on my thoughts anyway. But yes, also I would say if you experience hyperactivity or if you have ADHD, I would say talk to others who have similar experiences, because for me, I have lots of amazing friends and some of them also experience hyperactivity and stuff, and it has helped me immensely talking to others who face the same sort of thing, because I know that I had so much joy like talking to people with the same experiences, because I relate so much, and I'm like, I'm not the only one with this, there are people who understand this. Because talking to a neurotypical about it, people who don't experience it might not understand. When you find someone who you relate to, it's very good. Also, watching documentaries on hyperactivity or ADHD, I found that helped me, because I cried when watching ADHD stuff like twice, I think, because I related so much. But that can help you feel more understood and less alone. So I recommend that. That comes under the first point as well, with understanding yourself, but I recommend that as well. So yes, I hope that this video has been helpful for some people, and tell me down below as well if you have any more methods for managing hyperactivity, because I only know a little bit about this. I've only had like proper hyperactivity for a few months since my last PANDAS flare, so if you have any more tips, then that could be really helpful to put down in the comments for everyone to see as well. So I hope this is helpful. Thank you for watching. Bye!